Senate will come to order. Mr. Carpenter, would you please call the roll?
Senators Aguilar, Baumgardner, Cook, Quorum, Court, Crowder, Donovan,
Excused.
Finberg, Fields, Garcia, Gardner, Guzman, Hill, Holbert, John, Jones,
Absent.
Kagan, Kafalis, Kerr, Lambert, Lundberg, Marble, Martinez-Jimenez, Merrifield, Moreno, Neville, Priola, Scott, Smallwood, Sonnenberg, Tate, Todd, Williams, Zinzinger, Donovan, Jones. Mr. President.
Here. With the morning roll call is 35 present, 0 absent, 0 excused. We have a quorum. Senator Fields, would you please come and lead us in the pledge? Or you can do it down in the well. Or you can do it right here.
Good morning, colleagues. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the journal. Senator Zinzinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the reading of the Journal of Friday, January 13th be dispensed with and that the journal be approved as corrected by the Secretary.
You've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Seeing none, the motion is adopted. Senate Services.
Correctly printed, Senate Bill 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, and 82. Senate Joint Resolution 4, correctly enrolled. Senate Joint Resolution 1.
That's right. Correction of bill assignment. Senate Bill 76 is assigned to the Committee on Education rather than Finance. Consideration of resolutions.
Senate Joint Resolution 2 by Senators Baumgardner, Merrifield, and Representative Singer and Thurlow concerning the Colorado General Assembly support for the continued research, development, and application of biochar from our forests.
Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Senate Joint Resolution 2 lay over 1 week to January 24th.
25th. Did you say the 25th, Mr. Majority Leader? 24th. Motion is to lay over Senate Joint Resolution 2 to January 24th. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it, and that will lay over till January 24. Mr. Carpenter, would you please read the title of Resolution, Senate Joint Resolution 4?
Senate Joint Resolution 4 by Senators Holbert and Representative Becker Kay concerning the repeal of Rule Number 27 of the Joint Rules of the Senate and House of Representatives.
Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Senate Joint Resolution 4.
Proceed to the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, Senate Joint Resolution 4.
Please proceed, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. Joint Resolution 4 proposes that we repeal Senate Rule number 27. If you take time to read Senate Rule 27, it refers to telephone credit cards. Each member of the General Assembly shall be entitled to a telephone credit card for use in connection with his or her official duties during his or her term of office. If any of you actually have a telephone credit card and this rule is repealed, then you would turn that in. But I think it is true that none of us actually have those. In talking with Leader Becker in the House, she concurred, and you will see that she is the House sponsor of this joint resolution. So I'd ask for your support of Senate Joint Resolution 4.
Senator Moreno.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, being the youngest member of this chamber and born in 1985, Majority Leader Holbert, could you explain to me what is a telephone credit card?
Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, back in the olden days, if you come over by my office, you'll actually see this wooden booth that used to contain a telephone. Now we all carry those in our pockets. And somewhere in between that wooden booth and carrying around these small computers in our pockets, there were credit cards where members could correspond, interact with constituents and others around the state and country. But we no longer need those. So thanks for the opportunity to provide a little historical perspective.
Senator Jones.
As someone who had one of those credit cards and has one, where do I turn my credit card in? It's a sad day. It's a sad day.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion is the adoption of Senate Joint Resolution 4. Are there any no votes? With no votes. Seeing none, the vote of 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, that resolution is passed. Co-sponsors. Senator Guzman. Senator Williams. Senator Merrifield. Senator Marble. Senator Moreno. Senator Kagan. Senator Kerr. Please add the president. Announcements. Senator Marble.
Thank you, Mr. President. I know you've all been wondering about the most important announcement of the year, and that is about Doctor of the Day. Doctor of the Day is in, and if you want, take down this number, because we do not have a room set up yet for the doctor, but this week it is Robin Dickinson, and that number to contact her is 303-408-0387. Give her a call, and they'll get you fixed up.
Senator Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to come down this morning and ask you all to open up your wallets and find generosity of spirit to contribute to the Agriculture Scholarship Fund. It is a very shortened time period this year, i.e. this Friday. So if you guys can please make a contribution that is meaningful to you, Senator Baumgardner or Senator Crowder, I believe, is collecting on one side, and I will be hitting up my colleagues on this side. This is a really important tradition that we do, and so please find what is a meaningful contribution for you so that we can buy an animal this Friday at the Junior Livestock Auction and continue the heritage of agriculture in Colorado. Thank you, colleagues.
Senator Coram.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to add to that I would actually like to create a challenge here. And we did this in the House last year. We made a board of comparisons, so it went back and forth each day to see whether the Democrat side of the aisle was in the lead or the Republican. And my aide, my wife Diana, has made the board, so I'm going to be tracking you. So I'm going to hold it up, and we need the money because, you know, we actually got a few days. We got several days behind on this, so we need to make it up in a hurry. And the race is on, and let's see if the D's can outdo the R's here.
Senator Kafalis.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, colleagues. Happy New Year. I wish to announce that tomorrow morning, Wednesday, the nonpartisan Colorado Health Institute will have their annual legislative kickoff breakfast. It'll be from 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. before we convene. It'll be outside the old Supreme Court chambers. It'll be an opportunity to have food, coffee, meet and greet with the staff of the Colorado Health Institute regarding health care issues. Tomorrow, 7:30 to 9, outside the old Supreme Court chambers. Thank you.
Senator Garcia.
Thank you, Mr. President. And members, take note of the flyer that will be on your desk regarding the Veterans Caucus that Senator Crowder and I will be spearheading this year. The flyer's on your desk, but also just note the RSVP date for January 19th if you plan on having lunch with us.
Senator Lambert. And Senator Moreno. And Senator Lundberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. If you look at the yellow sheet on top of your schedule for the day, you'll see that the Joint Budget Committee is going to be starting briefings to joint committees starting upon adjournment of our session here. So actually, Senator Moreno will be speaking for the Joint Budget Committee to the House and Senate Judiciary Committees. We'll be using these volumes. So all of you should have received a little blue book, not the red book. So if you're colorblind, it's the one that says State Budget Briefing Summary on here. Staff Budget Briefing Summary, but it's also the State Budget Briefing Summary. So anyway, bring these if you're on Joint Judiciary today. We'll be going through those areas of the budget that concern the Judiciary Committee. Also, I'd like to announce this afternoon that we do have our regular JBC business from 2 o'clock to 5, but the Joint Budget Committee also has what we call 20-minute Tuesday, Thursday meetings, especially for groups that are not represented typically by lobbyists. And you can see we're having 3 of those this afternoon. Home Care Association of Colorado, Goodwill, Rocky Mountain Crisis Partners, the ARC of Colorado. All of them will be talking about equities for their groups as well as we go into supplemental decisions and figure setting. So you're always welcome to come over and hear those groups. It's, of course, open meetings, but if you have interest in any of those groups, come over and see what they have to say. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Bring your books.
Senator Kagan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I have taken over Senator Newell's Senate District 26 seat, so in honor of her, I'd like to make an announcement. There, I've made one.
Well played. Senator Cook.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to introduce actually 2 people. The first one, Colonel, retired, Robert McLaughlin from the Carmel Center of Excellence. It's standing up over here, and it's the Center of Excellence to collaborate with community partners, providing best practices in transition and wellness services for veterans, military, and their families by developing expertise, resources, and space. So, Colonel McLaughlin from Center of Excellence. My second person I'd like to introduce is a man who actually needs no introduction in this chambers or in the state of Colorado. I have been a Broncos season ticket holder for a long time. I saw this man come in as a rookie. I saw him play for 10 years for the Broncos. 9 out of those 10 years, he was the leading tackler in the NFL. All-Pro, should be in the Hall of Fame. It's a disgrace that he's not. He's a Hall of Famer, in my opinion, one of my heroes, Randy Gradishar.
Thank you, Senator Cook. And since technically that was not an allowable introduction, you'll be fined $53. But since I asked you to do that introduction, I'll forgive all but 53 cents of that.
Thank you, Mr. President. You're too kind.
Senator Hill.
Thank you, Mr. President. May I please have a moment of personal privilege?
Granted.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, if I could have your attention just for a minute, I'd love to share with you, please don't stand up or anything, but wanted to share with you briefly about the life of my grandfather who passed away a week ago. I appreciate your grace as I was out on Friday for that rousing training that you all had. And I came back Monday night, took my son out there to Virginia. Robert Owen Alphen is his name. So when you curse the name Owen in this room, as I know sometimes you're tempted to do, no, it's my grandfather ultimately that I got that name from. He was never more than a farmer, and he was never less than a farmer. My grandfather built the farmhouse that we went to every summer and every winter with his own 2 hands with his father. Now I take my children out there to that same spot. Back when desegregation of schools was starting to happen in Southern Virginia, when wind of it got out, one of the school board members resigned, and so my grandfather was appointed to replace them. When it actually started happening, all 4 of the other school board members resigned, and so my grandfather shepherded through in the South desegregation of the public schools out there. He was not a man that came with grand ideas. He was very much the farmer in the sense that how do you take a little bit of what you have and make it better. He was certainly a man of humor. He shared a great deal of humor. He had this classic joke he would always tell about a man who had a custom tailored suit and it came back not fitting very well. And it was classic the way he could go through and how the tailor would explain to him how if you just hang your arm down a little bit, then the arms would fit, but then it pulled up in the front, so you had to lean forward. And his 89-year-old body still loved to tell this joke. It was absolutely classic. And when the man finally comes out of the tailor, he's all hunched over, and 2 ladies pass him going in and says, "Well, isn't that just a shame, but doesn't he have a nice-looking suit?" And that was his all-time favorite joke, and he told it 20 times a year, and it never got old. When I first won my primary, he called and said, "Owen, how many politicians does it take to grease a peanut combine?" And he couldn't hear a thing on the phone, so I didn't even bother answering, just waited for his reply, and he said, "Only one, but you gotta run them through it real slow." And so I hung up the phone after that. Anyway, I share that with you all just in the last 4 years I've been here. I've come to understand the importance and the significance, something maybe I didn't understand as a young person coming into this chamber, the importance of our private, our personal lives, our family lives, our own personal stories, and how that shapes what we do in this room. So it's an honor to serve with you all, and I appreciate you giving me a few minutes to share about his life.
Thank you, Senator. Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate adjourn until 9 a.m. Wednesday, January 18th.
You've heard the motion to adjourn to 9 a.m. Wednesday, January 18th. Is that an all in favor or anything? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed no. We will be adjourned.
you.